I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name forever. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name forever. Oh Yahuwah, your greatness is unsearchable. I will exalt your name.
All praise to the Most High. Hallelujah.
Oh Yahuwah, your greatness
Told to Yahuwah and Yahusha.
unsearchable.
Told out to the Most High. Hallelujah.
I will exalt your name.
Told Yahuwah. Told Yahusha. Yahuwah, I want to thank you, Father. Told Rabbah for everything that you do for us every day, Yahuwah. Told Rabbah for your blessings, Yahuwah, your Hesed, your Racham. Told Rabbah for another prep day, Father. Another prep day discussion out on the Yahusha. For another time, Father, to be prepared, Father. Oh, Yahuwah, to go into your set-apart day, which is the Shabbat, the day that you set apart from the rest of the days of the Shavuah, the week. Told Rabbah, Father, for everything that you reveal to us and show us, Yahuwah. Told Rabbah, Father, you are my everything, Yahuwah. There's no one like you. You are Melech Kabod. You are Melech HaOlam. You are King of the universe. You are King forever, and there's no one like you, Father. Toda Rabbah for your Ruach. Toda Rabbah, Father, for your blessings, your Hesed, your Racham. Toda Rabbah for your loving kindness, your tender mercies. Toda Rabbah, Father, for waking us up, Father. Toda Rabbah for your grace, your mercy, your Hesed. Toda Rabbah, Father, for your covering, Father, for your blessings, for your Barakot, your Shalom. Toda Rabbah, Father, for blessing us to be on the path, Father, to be on the righteous path, the narrow path, Father. Toda Rabbah for choosing us in O Most High and calling us, Father. For many are called, but few are chosen. Toda Rabbah for calling us and choosing us, Adonai. Toda Rabbah, Yahuwah, for blessing us to be alive in the land of the living, to witness this, Father. To witness this time in history, Father, when you're turning over the captivity of Yasharal, when you're delivering us from all wickedness and evil, Father, and all bondage, Adonai Yahusha, bondage of our soul, bondage of sin, Father, and the bondage of this captivity, Father, physical bondage, delivering us, Father. Toda Rabbah for your deliverance, Adonai. Toda Rabbah for delivering us, Father, for you are a deliverer of your children, deliverer of your sons and daughters, redeemer of your people. Toda Rabbah, Yahuwah. Toda Rabbah, Father. Toda Rabbah, Yahuwah. Oh, Yahuwah, Halu of our fathers. Baruch us, Father. Baruch us with a wonderful, wonderful prep day discussion tonight, Father. That everything that you want to come out, that it may come out. That everything that you want to be stated, that it be stated, Father. Oh, Yahuwah, let these teachings drop down like rain on fertile soil, Father, that they may bring forth fruit in abundance, Father. That it may bring forth fruit, Father, that we be a people that are fruitful and multiply continually, Yahuwah. May everything that you want to come out, Yahuwah. May everything that you want to be stated, may be stated, Yahuwah. Oh, Father, how excellent is your name across the earth, and how wonderful are your ways, Yahuwah. We baruch your name. We praise your name, Adonai. We bask in the kavod of your presence. We worship you in spirit and in truth, and we todah you, Father. May we serve you all the days of our lives, Father. Oh, may we dwell in your house forever. May we do your will continuously and perpetually, and never go to the right or to the left of your commandments, Father. Your commandments are pure. Your commandments are just. Your commandments are true. Your commandments are real. They're sweet, Yahuwah. They're sweet like honey dripping from a honeycomb, Father. Your word, your Torah is wonderful. Todah for your Torah. Oh, Father. Todah Rabbah for your Ruach, Yahuwah. For the gift of your Ruach HaKodesh, Yahuwah. Todah Rabbah, Yahusha. For tabernacling amongst us, for dwelling with us, Father. Todah Rabbah for your Barakot, Father. For blessing us with the richness of your presence, Father. Blessing us with the richness of your presence, Yahusha. Todah Rabbah, Father. We need you, Father. There's no one like you, Father. You are everything. We lean on you, Yahuwah. You are our all, Father. Oh, Father, Baruch everyone listening in, Adonai. Baruch everyone listening in, Adonai Yahusha. Oh, Father, give them eyes to see and ears to hear, Father. We speak against distractions in the name of Yahusha. Oh, we speak against distractions in the name of Yahusha. Let these words, Adonai Yahusha, drop down like rain, Father. Let these words drop down like rain on the soil, Father. Oh, Yahusha, how excellent is your name across the earth. How wonderful are your ways, Father. Speak with my mouth, Yahusha. Oh, see with my eyes and move with my body, Adonai Yahusha. To be your words and not mine, Father. May it be so and may it be established. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. May it be established in the name of Yahusha. Hallelujah.
praise you, to exalt you, to glorify you, to be obedient to you. 4,000 generations, through the continuance of my DNA, I pray that you'll allow me to continue to pay my vows.
Yes, sir.
Forever. Forever and ever.
Go ahead. Let's turn it off right after that. All right. Shalom.
I will exalt your name forever. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name forever. Oh Yahuwah, your greatness is unsearchable. I will exalt your name. Oh Yahuwah, your greatness is unsearchable. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name forever. For 1,000 generations, I will exalt your name. Thy kingdom, thy dominion endures throughout all generations. Thy kingdom, thy dominion endures throughout.
All praise to the Most High. I want to give an Olam Hudim, La Yahuwah, La Yahusha HaMashiach. Olam Hudim, La Yahuwah, La Yahusha HaMashiach. I am Mispar Hudim, La Malek Musha, Ula Malek Yahusha. Kefel Hudim, La Malka Kayel, Ula Malka Yada. Kefel Hudim, La Hagabira Malaka Deborah, Ula Gibera Oats. Kefel Hudim, La Roshaluf Yithro, Ula Rosha'ats Yeshayahu. Kefel Hudim, La Hamushalim, Ula Hamushala Oats. Kefel Hudim, special Kefel Hudim, La Ishti, Amet Yahu, Torah La Yahuwah, La Yahusha. Hudim, La Sarar Ubakir, Sargam. Hudim, La Sarganim, Ubakir Sarganim. Hudim, La Hadarim, Ula Hadarot. Hudim, La Bakir, Usarar Ezerot. Hudim, La Alufim, Ula Imayot. Hudim, La Ya'asim. Hudim to where it's due. Shalom Aleichem Lakol HaMishpachah. Shalom Aleichem Lakol HaMishpachah. Shahanda Johnson, Shalom Barakot. Shepsi Bar Yahu, Shalom Shalom. Ivan Juan Little, Shalom Barakot to you. Kun Raham Yahu, Shalom and blessings. Life of Eliana Yahu, Shalom Barakot. Tony Green, Shalom Shalom. Brenda Nayami Thedford, Shalom and Barakot to you. Elishay Bar Yahu, Shalom Shalom. Esma Corkle, Shalom and Barakot to you. Joyfully, Shalom Shalom. Q Marie, Shalom and blessings to you. Raphael, Shalom Shalom, Aki. Naam Maria, Shalom Shalom. Naila Harris, Shalom and blessings to you. Ari Moshe Yisrael, Shalom Shalom. Liz R. Shalom Barakot to you. Who else? Yirmiyahu and Shamayahu. Shalom, shalom. Yahuwah's child and Yahusha's followers. Shalom Barakot. Bethsaida Yahu. Shalom, shalom. All praise to the Most High. All praise to Yahuwah. Told out to Yahuwah and Yahusha. Emunah, shalom to you. Shalom, shalom. All praise to the Most High. Man, that's it right there. That's it right there. It's that all, y'all. All right, y'all. Shalom, shalom. What's going on? Come on in. We about to begin. So, y'all, we on a new topic today for the Prep Day podcast. This is your Og Asaph Yahoo. I want to give a big shalom and ahab to each and every one of y'all. So we're going to go through DANIYEL. We went through the topic of sex the last few weeks. That was powerful. But now it's time to move into one of the actual go through a book and kind of do a dive into it a little bit. So let's get it. We'll start with chapter 1. We'll start with chapter 1, and the goal, we're going to try to go through chapter 3 today. All right, let's see here. All right. DANIYEL chapter 1. All right. All right, verse 1, it says, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Yehuda. Now, that alone is very interesting because whenever you read any of the books of the prophets, it's going to always, pretty much, I believe, in all the major books of the prophets. And, all right, so let me clarify this. When I say major books of the prophets, I mean prophets who have a whole book named after them that they wrote. You get what I'm saying? Because I don't want you to get mixed up with what, like Christian scholars, they'll call the major prophets and the minor prophets. And they're just talking about the major prophets are the prophets that have very long books, like Yeshayahu and Yirmiyahu. I believe those are the main, what the Christian scholars would call major prophets. Then the minor prophets, I think maybe Zechariah might have been considered a major prophet. I can't remember. But nevertheless, a minor prophet were the ones who had the lot shorter books. Like a Haggai or something like that, But it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the significance of the prophet or anything like that. For example, Eliyahu is looked at as one of the greatest prophets of Yasharal, and he didn't even have a book, he don't even have a book in the scriptures. You can even, you can say Yahushua Mashiach didn't have a book in the scriptures. You can say that. But, I think that's a little different because the volume of the book is of him. You know what I'm saying? But Yachanan the Immerser, or what some would call John the Baptist, Yahusha said he's like the greatest. He's like the greatest of all the prophets, and he didn't have no book written out. He didn't have no book in the scriptures either. So, that doesn't, when I say the major prophets or anything like that, that's not a, like, going off of the validity or the importance of the prophet. It's just kind of a general term that Christian scholars will use to talk about the prophets who have longer books, written out that they wrote, that they are attributed to them. So nevertheless, when we're looking at these books that actually are written, that are written by a prophet like DANIYEL, Yirmiyahu, Yeshayahu, Ezekiel, etc. In the beginning, most of they will usually tell you the king that's reigning at that time. The king of Israel at that time, and maybe even if it's like DANIYEL goes into the year the king was reigning and the name of the king. It's always through to look into who that king was and look at the time frame. So, for example, the book of Daniel starts off in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah. So Jehoiakim is a very interesting figure. Number one, because Jehoiakim was son of King Josiah. If any of y'all familiar with King Josiah, he's one of the most righteous kings that Yasharel ever had. He's one of the most righteous kings. He was through, man. Josiah, he became king, I believe, at like 8 years old or something like that. You know, he was basically the last righteous king before Babylonian captivity. Everybody after Josiah was wicked, and then, you know, Israel went into captivity through Babylon. So Jehoiakim was one of the kings that was reigning when Babylon came and took over and seized Jerusalem. That's why it says right here, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. It was during the reign of Jehoiakim when this happened. So Josiah, his dad, super righteous, through king. Josiah was so through, he was responsible for reinstating Torah back into Israel, back into, you know, Yasharal. So, man, it's just important. Let's look at this. It's important to understand this part of it. Let's see. It's in the Kings. All right. Let's look at this, y'all. 2 Kings 22. Let me do something here so I can be able to do a little more multitasking. All right. All right. So this is Josiah. This is King Jehoiakim's dad. It says Josiah was 8 years old when he became king. So there it goes. He literally became king at 8 years old, y'all. We can't even fathom this. But this is Jehoiakim's father. He became, at 8 years old, became king, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. So he reigned for a long time, y'all. But this is what's interesting. During Jehoiakim's reign, the high priest was Hilkiah. This is just giving you an understanding of the time frame all this was happening. The high priest was Hilkiah. Hilkiah, the high priest, is the father of the prophet Yirmiyahu. Hilkiah, the high priest, is the father of the prophet Yirmiyahu, okay? The one who wrote the book of Yirmiyahu, he was the son of Hilkiah, the high priest. And you'll see it if you go to the book of Yirmiyahu in chapter 1, they'll say Yirmiyahu, the son of Hilkiah. Okay? This will give you a kind of even a context when you read Yirmiyahu. It came to pass in the 18th year of King Josiah that the king sent Shaphan the scribe, the son of Azaliah, the son of Meshullam, to the house of Yahuwah, saying, Go up to Hilkiah the high priest, that he may count the money which has been brought into the house of Yahuwah, which the doorkeepers have gathered from the people, and let them deliver it into the hand of those doing the work who are the overseers in the house of Yahuwah. Let them give it to those who are in the house of Yahuwah doing the work to repair the damages of the house. So one thing that Josiah did that was a big deal is he rebuilt and restored and renovated the temple, because the wicked kings didn't care nothing about the Most High like that, and they let the temple go. They let the temple get, just old and messed up. And so Josiah, one of the biggest things he did was he renovated and restored the temple. So, it said, let them give it to those who are in the house of Yahuwah doing the work to repair the damages of the house, to carpenters and builders and masons that to buy timber and hewn stone to repair the house. However, there need to be no accounting made with them of the money delivered into their hand, because they deal faithfully. Now look at this. Because Josiah was faithful and his focus was on restoring the temple, making sure that the house was through. Look at verse 8. Then Hilkiah, the high priest, said to Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of Torah in the house of Yahuwah. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. So during this time, y'all, there was so many wicked kings that it's been many years that Yasharah wasn't even keeping Torah, y'all. Doesn't that ring a bell? Yasharah wasn't even keeping Torah. And then Yirmiyahu, the prophet, his daddy, Hilkiah, found a book of the Torah. He found the Torah. This was like a great awakening that happened under Josiah's reign, y'all. And you'll see what I mean here. So Hilkiah the high priest said to Shaphan the scribe, I found the book of the Torah in the house of Yahuwah. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan. He read it. Shaphan the scribe went to the king, bringing the king word, saying, your servants have gathered the money, etc., etc. Then Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, Hilkiah the high priest has given me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. Now it happened when the king heard the words of the book of the Torah that he tore his clothes. So tearing the clothes is a form of like mourning. Okay, so keep that in mind. It says, now it happened when the king heard the words of the Torah that he tore his clothes. And the king commanded Hilkiah the priest, Ahikam the son of Shaphan, Akbar the son of Micaiah, Shaphan the scribe, and Asaiah, a servant of the king, saying, go inquire of Yahuwah for me, for the people and for all of Yehuda concerning the words of this book that has been found. For great is the wrath of Yahuwah that is aroused against us, because our fathers have not obeyed the words of this book. Y'all see this? So what a big part of this great awakening that was going on during Josiah's time was that, man, oh snap, this is like, great is the wrath of the Most High. The Most High is not happy with us because we haven't been keeping these laws. That's why all this stuff been happening the way it's been happening. Ain't that what happened with us? What was the biggest chapter that woke a lot of us up? What was one of the biggest chapters in the awakening? Deuteronomy 28. Because we looked at Deuteronomy 28 and we was like, oh snap. Oh snap. We're under, like our people have been under these curses because we ain't been keeping these commandments. And it's like we found the Torah. Even though it was right in front of our face, it was hidden in plain sight. And so it was like we found it. We woke up. And one of the biggest ways that we woke up is we saw the wrath of the Most High on Yasharal for not keeping Torah. And we looked and said, oh, snap, that's why all this stuff been happening to us over these generations. We've been going against Yahuwah's laws. Y'all listen. That wasn't the first time that happened. That happened during this time, during Josiah's reign. That happened. That's why Josiah tore his clothes. A lot of y'all figuratively tore y'all clothes too. The way y'all did that was, y'all mourned. Y'all were ashamed. Y'all were grieved. Y'all started. Some of y'all got bitter because you felt like you've been lied to all these years. Some of y'all had a little animosity toward the church because you're like, oh man, how come? I trusted pastor and he ain't never even said nothing about this, because y'all know, most of y'all realize a lot of the pastors actually know this. They knew, about these things, a lot of these things, because it's in those seminary schools that a lot of them went to. A lot of those real ancient books that show that we the children of Yasharal, they're literally in those universities. One of the, these books be like thousands of dollars if you have to buy it, but there you can actually rent them for free in those libraries, in those universities. You know, it was, man, I can't think of the name of this book that we had. It was thousands of dollars, man. If you try to like buy it off Amazon. Man, I can't remember the name of this book. Oh man, I'm gonna have to maybe put it in the comments if I can remember. Man, what's the name of that book? But nevertheless, let's see real quick, man. Come on, that's at the tip of my tongue. All right, I found it, y'all. It's called. I had to find that. The name of the book is called "The Lost Tribes of Myth." The Lost Tribes of Myth. It's called "The Lost Tribes of Myth," and it's written by Alan H. Godby. Suggestions towards rewriting Hebrew history. This is a Caucasian scholar, Alan H. Godby. And he wrote this book sometime, I believe it was in the late 1800s. I can't remember the time, or early 1900s, like 1930s. And y'all, this book, y'all, if you try to get it all Amazon, if it's still on Amazon, it was, last time I checked, it was thousands of dollars. Let's see. Yeah, so the last time I checked, it was a few $1,000s. If you go on Amazon now, you get to try to get the hardcover of The Lost Tribes of Myth. It is literally $15,000, y'all. $15,000. So, we found the book. We found the book. One of the Akeem was searching to see if there's a way we can get the book, and we found it. It was in University of Texas Library. All we need, this is a $15,000 book. It's in the university, y'all. If you look online and Google it, you'll find it. It's in several of the seminaries. And it's probably, it's a very, 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 it's a very thorough book showing that basically we the Hebrews, basically, it's just, showing all the different parts of Africa where ancient Israelite tribes, the Yahudim and different. It's very in depth, very long book. You can get it from the universities if you have a membership at the library. All we did is we paid, I think it was like $100 for the membership for University of Texas Library, and just checked out the book for free, y'all. And we had the book. And so I just say that to say that the information is out there. And the pastors, they knew, a lot of the pastors knew that we were the people, y'all. A lot of them did, because that stuff, that stuff was being brought to them in the seminary schools and the universities they got their degrees from. They just didn't want to bring it out because they didn't want to lose the congregation. They didn't want to take a chance of it being too much, because, getting kicked out of that denomination, things like that. And so that caused a lot of people to be kind of bitter, because they're like, oh man, you knew that and you ain't wasn't teaching that, and so on and so forth. But nevertheless, this is the kind of stuff they was going through, y'all. It was this process of this awakening in Yasharah during Josiah's time. So, and Hilkiah was a big part of that. That was Yirmiyahu's son. I'm sorry, Yirmiyahu's father, the prophet. And it's like Yahuwah blessed Hilkiah for his faithfulness, and so Hilkiah brought forth Kodesh Sheed. He literally brought forth one of the most famous prophets in all the scriptures. Like, look at this, y'all. Like, he brought forth Kodesh Sheed. Look at this, Yirmiyahu chapter 1. The words of Yirmiyahu, the son of Hilkiah, of the priests, who were in Anathoth in the land of Binyamin. So Yirmiyahu is literally of the lineages of the high priests, the sons of Aaron. But look at this. To whom the word of Yahuwah came in the days of Josiah, the son of Ammon, king of Yehuda, in the 13th year of his reign. So this is showing you that Hilkiah was definitely the father of Jeremiah. You can, because it's all around. It's all in the same time frame, the same time in history. It came also in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, until the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, the king of Judah. So, until the carrying away of the Jerusalem captive in the 5th month. So the king Jehoiakim, he was king for about 11 years, roughly. And then what happened was he was replaced, and his brother ended up reigning, which was Zedekiah. So Jehoiakim is understood to be a vassal of Mitzrayim, of Egypt. The Pharaoh so Josiah was king. Josiah actually was killed by Pharaoh of Egypt. Josiah, I think he died pretty young, if I remember right. He was killed by a Pharaoh in Egypt. That Pharaoh then actually placed up Josiah's son, Jehoiakim, to reign. So Jehoiakim was in a sense a vassal of Egypt, Mitzrayim. Jehoiakim was in bed with Mitzrayim. He was not a third king. See, Josiah, he wasn't rolling like that. But Jehoiakim, he was in bed with Mitzrayim. They're the ones who propped him up. So I'm trying to put things into perspective. Like, for example, so this is the difference between, so we have leaders here in America who are propped up by the government to be the leader. They weren't chosen by the people. For example, you got, if you look in like during the civil rights movement, you had people like Malcolm X. Malcolm X was propped up by the people. Even Martin Luther King, very controversial figure in Israel, I know that, but the reality was Martin Luther King was propped up by the people. He was not like a plant or somebody propped up by the government to be like a puppet leader over the people. No, Martin Luther King was a real leader over the people, propped up by the people. Malcolm X was as well. There's others as well, but you just think about the civil rights movement. Black Panther, Huey P. Newton. Different people like that. I can't remember the other guy's name. They just made a movie from him. The Black Panther leader, very young guy. They were all propped up by the people. And they were considered enemies of the government. You see what I'm saying? They were considered enemies of the government. But, and so what the government will do, the government will attack those leaders that are propped up by the people. Because a lot of times when you're dealing with a leader who's a true leader, propped up by the people, a leader of the people, they're deemed a threat to the government, because a lot of times those leaders are holding the government accountable, calling the government out on their wrongdoings, challenging them, things like that. And so that a lot of times, unfortunately, it causes the government to deem them as an enemy, and they usually go after them, try to take out the leaders, things like that. We know that's what happened with Martin Luther King. That's what happened with Malcolm X and many others of our leaders in the past. And then, so think about what happened after the civil rights movement. After all that, all of a sudden you have this new generation of leaders like Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, etc., etc. Al Sharpton is a puppet for Babylon. He was propped up by Babylon to lead over us. He was not chosen by the people. He was not of the people at all. 100% in bed with the government. They propped him up and said, we're going to make you the new leader over black Americans. We're going to push you hard. We're going to, et cetera, you know, and do whatever we need to do to make you the new leader, because people like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, they dangerous. They're a threat to what do they always be saying? They're a threat to, I can't remember the wording that they'll use, but they're a threat to us. And so they're a threat to national security or something like that. And so, yeah, we're going to prop y'all up. Y'all be the new leaders. And so, this is how the government does. Y'all be the new leaders of black America, but y'all do not veer into across these boundaries. If you do, we'll cut you down too. So you have people like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. They don't never ruffle no feathers. Not outside of certain boundaries. They have these certain boundaries that they got to stay within. As long as they stay within them boundaries, they through. Anytime, if they will ever go past that, you know, they're gonna blackball them. All of a sudden, there'll be a smear campaign. There may be all of a sudden a whole bunch of females coming out, crying out abuse or something, you know, or they just take them all the way out. See, they try to do Martin Luther King like that. They first started to try to do the smear campaign on him. You know, they tried to have like stuff come out about, you know, him messing around with females and him, you know, being adulterous with his wife. They tried to do a smear campaign against him at first. Then they were trying to get him to do all kind of stuff, y'all. They're trying to get him to commit suicide. I mean, man. But none of that worked. So finally, they just took him out. He was becoming too dangerous. He was started pushing reparations and things like that. You know, and so I just say it all that to say that Jehoiakim was like an Al Sharpton, unfortunately. What they did, they killed Josiah. Josiah was a true leader of the people. He restored Torah back into the nation. He did all that. They killed him, and they propped up Jehoiakim. The Egyptians killed Josiah. Josiah died pretty young. He was not that old. And then they propped up Jehoiakim and said, hey, all right, y'all, this is y'all new leader. Egypt was like, okay, you the leader, but you can't pass these boundaries. We're going to make you leader of Yehuda. Just, you know, as long as you know, and you make sure you push for Yehuda to stay in line with the ways of Egypt, and make sure y'all pay y'all taxes and all these things like that. Y'all tribute to us because we got dominion over y'all. We'll be all through. Just don't go past these certain boundaries. And Jehoiakim must have did something. He must have did something because the Mitzrites took him down and raised up and had made his brother to Zedekiah to be king instead. Jehoiakim lasted about 11 years, and they raised up Zedekiah to be king. He only lasted 3 months, and then they raised up somebody. I think then Babylon actually destroyed Egypt, y'all. It was something along those lines. Babylon, in somewhere between the time of Jehoiakim becoming king and his brother Zedekiah becoming king, Babylon came in somewhere in there and destroyed Egypt in war. And then Nebuchadnezzar came in there and sacked Jerusalem. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of politics surrounding this, is what I'm trying to paint the picture so y'all can understand what was going on during the days of Daniel. It was a lot of politics going on. There were different waves of the captivity of Babylon. There were different waves. But you'll see that when you read Ezekiel. But it was one of the waves when they actually finally destroyed the temple, you know. But in the beginning of the Babylonian captivity, the temple was still there, but I believe it was like certain revolts by Yasharal that caused him to go and just go in and just destroy everybody and destroy the temple. So just putting things into perspective, what we're looking at. All right. Nevertheless. But even looking at Yirmiyahu, look at verse 4. Then the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet to the nations. Now you see why he was chosen by Yahuwah. Yirmiyahu was a son of light, and Yahuwah sent Yirmiyahu through the seed of Hilkiah, through the womb of Hilkiah, the high priest's wife. And Yahuwah did that as a gift to Hilkiah, I submit, for his righteousness, for his obedience, for his obedience. Yirmiyahu was a son of a high priest, just like Yachanan the Immerser. John the Baptist was a son of Zechariah. He was a priest. He was of the priestly lineage who did the orders in the temple. So he was a descendant of Aharon as well. A lot of the prophets will come from the lineages of the priesthood, y'all. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. But yeah, Yahuwah said, before you was in the womb, I knew you. Talking to Yirmiyahu, man, he was specifically sent to go through that lineage, specifically for that time. And, those are things, some of y'all is similar situation. Some of y'all is similar situation. All right, going back to DANIYEL chapter 1. So now keeping all those things in mind, getting a little bit of a background at the beginning of the chapter. See what time it is. All right. It says, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim king of Yehuda, Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came to Jerusalem and besieged it. Now, Jehoiakim was looked at as a very bad leader. Very, very bad king. And Adonai gave Jehoiakim king of Yehuda into his hand with some of the articles of the house of Eluah, which he carried into the land of Shinar to the house of his Eluah. And he brought the articles into the treasure house of his Eluah. Man. So, y'all got to understand this is figurative as well. So Nebuchadnezzar went into the temple and took some of the articles out of the temple. That's what they're talking about. So when you go into the temple, this is Solomon's temple, Mishpaka. So you got to understand, y'all, everything was gold. All the articles, man, pure gold. Like imagine the menorah. Imagine, the utensils, the bowls, pure gold, y'all. When you talk about in the holy place. The temple had multiple menorahs, solid gold. I think it had like 10. You know what I'm saying? This ain't the tabernacle. This is Solomon's temple. So it's like the Solomon's temple is like the tabernacle times 10. It was 10 menorahs instead of 1. You had the big bowls. You had the utensils. You had all these things. They taken these articles out of the house of Eluah. What are those articles? Those gold vessels in the house of Eluah represent? Y'all, those represent the most valiant, the most faithful, most valuable people in the nation. Nebuchadnezzar went in and took them they took them out of the house and brought them to Nebuchadnezzar, brought them to Babylon. You get what I'm saying? Because remember, aren't we the temple? Aren't in our bodies the temple of the Ruach HaKodesh? In our bodies the temple? So keeping that in mind, the articles, in a sense, represent the people of the body being removed. And the temple usually aligns hand in hand with us. So a lot of times, every time, not a lot of times, every time the temple was destroyed, the nation of Yasharal was destroyed. Every time the temple was destroyed, the nation of Yasharal was destroyed. Every time the temple was ravished and things were stolen out of the temple, many of the times, literal people were ravished and stolen out of the land of Yasharal. You get what I'm saying? The parallel? A lot of times when a temple was destroyed and the articles were exiled out of the temple into the land of our enemies and captured by our enemies, the people were destroyed and exiled out of the land. I hope y'all seeing that parallel. In contrast, when the temple is rebuilt, the nation is rebuilt. It goes hand in hand together. When the temple is restored, the people are restored. Remember what happened? When Josiah was restoring the temple and he was rebuilding the temple, what happened? All of a sudden, Hilkiah found the Torah. And then King Josiah was like, wow, we need to keep the commandments. He restored the Torah in Yasharal, King Josiah. He restored the people by restoring and implementing Torah in Yasharal. When the temple was cleaned and restored, the people were cleaned and restored. Because the temple is a parallel of us. All throughout the scriptures, the temple parallel Yasharal. All right. So, it says, and Adonai gave Jehoiakim, king of Yehuda, into his hand, with some of the articles of the house of Eluah, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his Eluah. And he brought the articles into the treasure house of his Eluah. Then the king instructed Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, to bring some of the children of Israel, and some of the king's descendants, and some of the nobles, the nobility. Let's see what that word is. Is that... See, some of the nobles, the princes, all part mean. Okay. And some of the nobles, young men in whom there was no blemish, but through looking. See, these are young. These are the most valuable. These are the gold of Yasharal. These are the gold vessels. These are the king's descendants, the noblemen. There was no blemish in them, meaning they are, sharp, through, righteous. It says they're through looking, gifted in all wisdom, possessing knowledge and quick to understand, who had ability to serve in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the language and literature of the Chaldeans. So now they're going to take them and bring them to the best of the schoolings. The Babylonians took the gold vessels out of Yasharal, the most valuable of the people, and the most valuable of the people, and brought them into Babylon, and give them the best of the schooling of Babylon, to teach them to be Babylonians. That was the way Babylon did when they brought people into captivity. So verse 5, it says, and the king appointed for them a daily provision of the king's delicacies and of the yayin, or the wine, which he drank, and 3 years of training. So it was a 3-year degree, basically, that they had to get schooled in. They had to get this. They went to get a 3-year degree. 3 years of training for them, so that at the end of that time they might serve before the king. Wow. So they're being trained up to serve before the king. These are the noblemen of Yasharal, the nobility of Yasharal. So as y'all see, DANIYEL was among them. Now from among those of the sons of Yehuda were DANIYEL, Hananiah, Mishael, and I believe that's Azaryahu or Azarya. I believe that's Hananiyahu or Hananiah. And then Mishael, I forgot his name in Hebrew, but I believe that's pretty close. Mishael is as it's said, Mishael. So that's their Hebrew names, right? Then it says, to them the chief of the eunuchs gave names. He gave DANIYEL the name Belteshazzar. So, man, he gave them straight up Babylonian names. Same thing that happened here in America. Similar thing. To Hananiah, Shadrach. To Mishael, Meshach. And to Azariah, Abednego. That literally means to serve Nebo. Abednego. I know when we were in the church, y'all, I didn't even know their Hebrew names. I didn't know I know DANIYEL, but I didn't know about Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, because in the church they always said Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I always wondered that when I came into the truth. Why in the church did we only address them by their slave names when the scriptures showed us what their real names was? Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And we would only address them by their slave names. At least all the churches that I was growing up, I just thought that was interesting. I thought that was very interesting. But we're going to try to do better and address them by their real names. It's almost like how we try to do other things too. Verse 8, but DANIYEL purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's delicacies, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the chief of the eunuchs that he might, oh my bad, y'all. I'll put this on. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's delicacies, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the chief of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. So this is the thing, the idea is that the king, like Nebuchadnezzar and them, were whining and dining the nobility of Yasharal, of Yehuda, the nobility of Yehuda. He was whining and dining them and giving them the best of the school, and it's like they was trying to build a relationship with them and have them, he's trying to turn them into weapons for Babylon instead of people against Babylon. It's this way of using wine and dining. We're going to give you the best of the king's delicacies. We'll have you, eat with the king. We'll treat you like royalty, things like this. We just need you to serve us. And as we'll see, the catch is we need you to serve our Alua too. We just need you to stop serving your Alua. If you just do that, if you stop serving your Alua, you serve our Alua, you serve us, we're going to make sure you through. We're going to wine and dine you. We're going to make sure you treat it as royalty. You'll be one of us. If you renounce and denounce Yasharal and be one of us, I wonder if this is one of the reasons why Yirmiyahu have this, because that's the come out of Babylon. Y'all know that didn't originate in the book of Revelation, right? Come out of her, my people. Come out of Babylon. That did not originate in Revelation with John the Immerser. Yochanan the Revelator. That was Yirmiyahu, y'all. I believe that's Yirmiyahu chapter 50, who originated. I believe originated that prophecy or that word of the come out of Babylon, my people. Could it have been because, man, look, there was a lot of people who were like, let's just be Babylonian, man, because there were certain people who were given the option to sell out Yasharal. They just be Babylonian, that they'll be treated well. And maybe they won't get killed. You see what I'm saying? DANIYEL, he was different. He purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's delicacies, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the chief of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now, I know we look at this primarily as, okay, DANIYEL didn't want to eat the meat because there was something wrong with the meat. It was some sort of corrupted meat. It probably was some unclean meat in there, it probably was. But you gotta, when y'all reading the books of the prophets, there's always layers to this thing. So sitting at the table with the king and eating of his delicacies is also about taking in the teachings, taking in his doctrines, taking in the words of and the doctrines and the ways of Babylon. Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself by doing that. That's ruachly what this is saying. That's what this is saying. He is not eating what they're feeding him. He's not, yeah, okay, I gotta sit here, but nope. Not finna defy Yahuwah. Nope. They took him through the best of the schooling. They could. Any of y'all maybe been, some of y'all maybe younger, or maybe in school, maybe have to go to public school, maybe you're in a college, and the professor is teaching you some stuff ain't true. Oh no, that ain't nah. You're not eating what he's feeding you, but you're still in school. You still got to make the grade. So, but you ain't buying. Yeah, you don't believe that stuff. You're not receiving those words. They talk about evolution. We all came from monkeys. You in a science class trying to get a degree, so maybe you can be an engineer or something like that. And so you got to go to these classes. The professor talking that stuff. That don't mean that you actually eating it. Yeah, you got to sit there and take notes, and you got to take the test so you can pass. But you're not buying it. You get what I'm saying? That's what this is really saying. DANIYEL wasn't with it. He wasn't buying it. They were trying to wine and dine him. They were trying, that's why the scriptures say that the nations have drunk of the wine of Babylon. King Nebuchadnezzar was trying to get Daniel to drink of the wine of Babylon. Y'all gotta, when you read the prophets, there's layers to it. Y'all gotta think deeply, and you'll get a better understanding of what it's really saying. So Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's delicacy, nor with the wine which he drank. See, drinking wine don't defile you. That's why it's something deeper here. Drinking wine is not against Torah. So it's more here. I'm gonna give y'all a quick example. Let's go to Revelation 18 real fast. Man, let's see how much time I got. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, Revelation chapter 18. Look, y'all. This is in the book of Revelation. After these things, I saw another Malach coming down from the Chamaim, having great authority, and the earth was illuminated with his kabod. Verse 2, and he cried mightily with a loud voice, saying what? Babylon the great is fallen, and has become a dwelling place of demons, a prison for every foul spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hated bird. Now look at verse 3. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Who is her? Babylon's fornication. Look what it says. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. Who is Daniel and them? DANIYEL are the nobility of Yehuda. They're the children of the descendants of the king and the nobility. Look at this. And the merchants of the earth have become rich through the abundance of her luxury. That's what Nebuchadnezzar was trying to do to Daniel, to DANIYEL. He was trying to wine and dine them and get them drunk from the wine of the fornication of Babylon, spiritually. They were trying to get them enamored in the richness of the luxury of Babylon. They were trying to wow them by the luxury and the abundance. Because Babylon at this time was the greatest kingdom on the Eretz at this time. The most powerful, most mightiest. They even whooped Egypt, y'all. Whooped them. I mean, whooped them. They were the top dog during this time. So they had all the money, all the prestige, all the fame. They had it all. And they took DANIYEL and Hananiah and Azariah and I believe Mishael, and they were trying to get them to be drunk off of the wine of her fornication. That means get them totally enamored and inebriated by the kavod of Babylon to the point to where they are willing to sell out everything and become Babylonian. And the scriptures say that DANIYEL purposed himself that he wasn't finna do it. He wasn't finna do that. Nope. Yehuda for life. Fourth trial. They probably was like, Belteshazzar. My name Daniel. I don't know who that is. Belteshazzar, come here. Who you talking to? I don't know no Belteshazzar. I bet Daniel, but I bet he was, man, look. Daniel wasn't with it. They were trying to give him that food. Nope. Y'all just give me vegetables. Know what I'm saying? So they probably were getting like, man, this guy here, this guy here, man, I don't know. Them eunuchs, he probably was giving them eunuchs a hard time. So, but Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's delicacies, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the chief of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now Eluah had brought Daniel into the favor and goodwill of the chief of the eunuchs. So what happened was Yahuwah gave Daniel favor in the eyes of the chief eunuchs. These are the head men, and eunuchs basically, to my understanding, it means that they're unable to multiply. Sometimes they've been, they've been castrated, basically. They've been castrated. And the chief of the eunuchs said to Daniel, I fear my master the king, who has appointed your food and drink. I fear my master the king, who has appointed your food and drink. For why should he see your faces looking worse than the young men who are your age? Then you would endanger my head before the king. So Daniel said to the steward, whom the chief of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, please test your servants for 10 days, and let them give us vegetables to eat and water to drink. Man, all he wanted was vegetables and water. All he wanted was vegetables and water, y'all. They was giving them the delicacies, man. They was giving them the yayin. Y'all, how most of us would have just been like, does that got pork in it? No. Okay, well, I'm going to eat it. Yayin is food. Yayin is food. You know what I'm saying? But Daniel saw it deeper than that, I submit. Daniel was like, nah, they trying to enamor us with, nah. They trying to sell us out, get us to sell out. They trying to enamor us with all their luxuries. So nah, let me just do vegetables and water. So he said, test your servants for 10 days. Let them give us vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then let our appearance be examined before you, and the appearance of the young men who eat the portion of the king's delicacies. And as you see fit, so deal with your servants. So he consented with them in this matter and tested them 10 days. I know the number 10 is one of the numbers for obedience. It's associated with testing, the number 10. It's associated with submission and obedience. That's why there's 10 commandments. We talked about this millions of times. And so that's all Ruwakal as well. So he consented with them in this matter and tested them 10 days. And at the end of the 10 days, their features appeared better and fatter in flesh than all the young men who ate the portion of the king's delicacy. So Yahuwah made a miracle happen with that. Because, that's not normal. You just eating vegetables and water. You know what I'm saying? Probably was fruit too, because biblically, I believe vegetables and fruit are related to each other. Let's see what word they use. Vegetables, yeah. What's that word? So it says pulse in the King James. Zaron. Okay. So yeah, it looks like that's from the word zerah, which means seed. We talked about that before. It says vegetables as sown, but it says something sown only in the plural, a vegetable as food. So it says here vegetables. So we'll just leave it at that. But verse 15, at the end of the 10 days, their features appeared better and fatter in flesh than all the young men who ate the portion of the king's delicacies. Thus the steward took away their portion of delicacies and the wine that they were to drink and gave them vegetables. As for these 4 young men, Alua gave them knowledge, y'all, and skill in all literature and wisdom. And DANIYEL had understanding in all, look, visions and dreams. That's probably Kazayon and Helamim or Mara. Let's see. Visions and dreams. Yeah, that's Kazayon and Haloma. Helamim. This is one called Motes. So it's the same thing. Chazon, it says. Chazon is literally the Hebrew word for revelation. I know that's small. Y'all not gonna be able to see that. All right. See if I can make this so y'all can see it. We'll follow up on that because so it says that DANIYEL had understanding in all visions and dreams. That word for visions is kazayon, and the reason why that's important is because kazayon is the Hebrew word for revelation in the book of Revelation. It's kazayon. If you got it like a sefer, it'll say kazayon. And so this is just showing you right here that it's associated with the book of Revelation. You'll notice there's a lot of things mentioned here. We'll notice as we go through book of Daniel, there's a lot of things mentioned here that's kind of mentioned in Revelation as well, in different ways and different aspects. There's a lot of prophetic things mentioned here that's reiterated in the book of Revelation, because Revelation is really a vision. It's a vision. It's visions. All right, so nevertheless, test. Make sure it's turned all the way up. There we go. Now at the end of the days, when the king had said that they should be brought in, the chief of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. Then the king interviewed them, and among them all, none was found like DANIYEL, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. So at the end of the days, so it was time for them to graduate, y'all. When the king had said that they should be brought in, the chief of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. Then the king interviewed them. See what it says. Talked with them. Okay. And among them all, none was found like DANIYEL, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore, they served before the king. Y'all, so they served right under the king. And in all matters of wisdom and understanding, about which the king examined them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers who were in all his realm, y'all. Thus DANIYEL continued until the first year of King Cyrus. That's a long time. So DANIYEL continued all the way until till the Persians came and whooped Babylon. King Cyrus was from the Persians. DANIYEL continued all the way until the first year of King Cyrus. That was a long time, y'all. Let's see. Yeah, so they the estimate is about 70 years roughly that DANIYEL was captive in Babylon. Because he was taken to Babylon in the first year of Nebuchadnezzar and continued serving there even after the Persian conquest by Cyrus, King Cyrus. That's what it's saying here in chapter 1, that he continued until the first year of King Cyrus. So it was about 70 years, y'all. Like Daniel served under the king until he was an old man, very old. Very interesting, y'all. Very interesting. All right. See what time it is. Time check. All right. We're going to have to continue next week, but let me, hold up. Yeah, man, we only got one chapter. I was trying to do 3. Let me see something. All right. We're going to do a little bit of chapter 2 and then we're going to close. All right. So, now in the second year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, Nebuchadnezzar had dreams, and his ruach was so troubled that his sleep left him. Man. So the heathen, they get dreams. The Most High sends the heathen dreams too. That's what this shows you. The Most High sends heathen dreams as well. Then the king gave the command to call the magicians, the astrologers, the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans to tell the king his dreams. So especially kings of other nations. So kings are, so the leaders of kingdoms, some of like Yahusha brought out before in the past. The leaders of kingdoms are, the leaders of kingdoms are representatives on the earth of a certain principality, y'all. That's why every kingdom has a religion. Every kingdom has a religion. It's this concept of a king and a priest in every kingdom. The king is a representative of the Allure that they serve on the Eretz. The Allures that they serve are fallen Malachim from the Marine Kingdom. But they're like they're principalities, I'm sorry, like they're ruachs that are over regions which are associated with the fallen Malachim. But when you're talking about ruachs, they the way that they operate on the earth realm is through a body. It's through a man. Mankind originally was supposed to be the way that the Most High accesses this realm. But what happened, things got corrupted. And then you had people who are wicked. You have entities and ruachs that are not of the Most High. They rebelled against the Most High. And then they are able to use men who are willing to rebel against the Most High as well and operate through their bodies on the Eretz. So when you're talking about a king, that's the high. They are associated with very high ranked principalities, y'all. So yeah, they'll receive dreams. They'll receive all kind of stuff, and they're always big into some sort of religion of whatever the allure is that they represent. This is why Yahuwah talks about how in Deuteronomy 32 how the nations are separated based on the sons of Israel, but Israel is Yahuwah's inheritance in a sense. Like all the other nations are given over to some other allure, all the other kingdoms, but Israel is the nation that's given over to Yahuwah. So the king of Israel when the king is doing what it's supposed to do, when the king is doing what he's supposed to do, when he's a righteous king, he's literally the representative of Yahusha on the Eretz. He's the representative of the he moved as a representative of the Most High on the Eretz, y'all. This is why you see when there's a righteous king, he's very, in tune with the Most High. He's in charge of establishing Torah and enforcing it. He's in charge of enforcing the judgments of the Most High. Even Moshe in the scriptures, in the Torah, who wrote the Torah, he was a king. According to Torah, he was a king. Bakir Sargon brought this out. I believe it's in Bereshit 32. Genesis 32 as well, which is interesting. The same scripture that talks about, how Yahuwah separated the sons of Alua, or the children of Yasharal. He set the bounds and separated the nations based on the sons of Alua, or the children of Yasharal. Probably the best translation is the sons of Alua. But Yasharal was his inheritance. You see what I'm saying? So, keeping all those things in mind, that's what we're dealing with. So, that's why the goal of Nebuchadnezzar was to take the best, the most noblest of Yasharal, and have them to submit to Babylon and submit to the Alua of Babylon. Because Nebuchadnezzar is a representative of that Alua that they serve on the earth. Who do you think Yahushua HaMashiach is? Yahusha is a representative of Yahuwah on the earth. That's why Yahusha is what? King. Yahusha's king, right? That's the concept of a king. Malek, you can even see it in the breakdown of the word Malek. Man, let me see. Ugh. Man, hold up, boy. I wish I had some more time, but let me just pull this up and let's see. I want y'all to see this, man. Let's see here. Let's see what it's going to be. I think it's this one. Nope. Maybe it's this one. Yep, it's that one. I found it. All right. All praise to the Most High. Yahuwah is so through. I already want y'all to see this. All right. Told out for y'all patience. All right, here we go. Let me see the best way to show y'all this. All right. See if I can show y'all this real quick. All right, there we go. All right, y'all, look at this. Okay. So this is the Hebrew word Melech, okay? This is the word for king. Mem, Lamed, Kaf, okay? That's a final Kaf, but you can see the pictograph is, you see the Mem, it means, it could mean the nations or a multitude of people, the masses. It can mean a lot of things. It can mean darkness, it can mean waters, blood, it's all kind of things. Then you got the staff, that's the Lamed, which can mean the staff for instruction, correction, a teaching, yoke, etc., etc. Then you got the Kaf, which is a picture of a hand. It can mean to give, to receive, etc., etc. But the breakdown for Melech, the Hebrew word for king, one of the aspects is it's about a teaching to the masses. It's about the masses. Basically, it's about giving a teaching to the masses from the strong leader. So it's about a doctrine. The staff is about a doctrine, the rod of correction, giving correction to it's about giving correction, being given from to the masses. So the masses having correction being given to them. The masses having a doctrine being given to them. Y'all see this? Isn't that what Nebuchadnezzar was doing? Isn't that what Nebuchadnezzar was doing? It's about a doctrine. It's about the masses having a doctrine being given to them from the strong leader. Isn't that what Nebuchadnezzar was doing? His goal was to establish the doctrines of Babylon on the earth. It wasn't just about Babylon having dominion physically, but it was about Babylon having spiritual dominion on the earth too. He wanted them to worship. He wanted the world to worship the allures of Babylon. He wanted the people of Yasharal to bow down to the allures of Babylon and to move in the doctrines of Babylon, because that's what a Melech, that's the aspect of a Melech. He's the representative of that allure that they serve, and the goal is to establish a doctrine, a teaching to them and give it to the masses. Babylon does that today. That's the wine of the fornication. That's Babylon. That's why America, which is Babylon, does that today. They try to push their values to the whole world. Everybody needs to move in all the abominations and believe in all the most abominable things that we think is stupid. Y'all should think is stupid too. And if y'all don't, it's because y'all wrong and y'all wicked. And we need y'all to change those things. Y'all, literally, Obama went to Africa. We talked about this multiple times. He went to Africa and was like, man, look, y'all need to get it together. The way y'all act towards, like homosexual and things like that. He like, y'all need to get it together. And I submit, because these were nations that America was giving aid to. Y'all need to get it together, or they're not gonna say this out loud, but this is how I see what was really going on. Y'all need to change y'all ways, or that might affect these luxuries that we giving y'all right now. We giving y'all all this money every year for aid and so on and so forth. That might, man, look here. I don't know. I mean, because y'all the way y'all treat, y'all don't even open up, same-sex marriage and stuff like that, like we do in America. And y'all doing things like putting people in jail for things like that. We need y'all to change that, or else that might affect all this stuff we giving y'all. See, that's kind of that's Babylonian ways. You see what I'm saying? And that's what Nebuchadnezzar, in a sense, was kind of doing here. And so this is why Melech is very close to Malak. The Hebrew word Malak. Oh man, my bad. Y'all. The Hebrew word Malak is very close to Melech. That's the word for angel or messenger. You know what a Malak is? An angel is a messenger of Alua, is the messenger, is a messenger of the Most High, is a messenger of an Alua, of an all. You got messengers of the Most High, but then you got fallen Malachim. They messengers for something else, for another all. But the messengers of the Most High, the word is very closely related to Melech, because the Melachim are going to operate as Malachim. They're going to operate as messengers of the Most High, y'all. Because it surrounds around giving a teaching to the masses from the strong leader. And every Melech has a Malach behind them. All right. We'll and what we'll do, we'll finish up. You know what I'm saying? We'll not finish up, but we'll go into chapter 2 and some more chapters next week. But all praise to the Most High. Much ahava to the Mishpachah. Let's see here. See what y'all got here. Letting go of the garments of Babylon. That's real. Yirmiyahu and Shemayahu. That's real. Imayasha Hudim to you. No worries. No worries. Tony Green, you said the East people funded Martin. So I know that there were some East groups that were definitely supporting the civil rights movement financially. They were. But man, look, Martin Luther King in the Awakening is very, very controversial because of some of the things he did do that wasn't through, but there was a lot that he did that was through too. So it's just kind of one of those things that, you know, it's kind of tough. He's a complicated figure. I'm not one of those Israelites that just be like, man, Martin Luther King, he was wicked. He was a sellout and woo-de-woo. It's more complicated than that. You know, he did do some things I wasn't through. I believe he might have sold out in certain areas, but at the end he stood 10 toes down. That's why the government took him out. At the end, he stood 10 toes down, and he knew what was probably going to happen, and he moved forward anyway, 10 toes down for real, with the best that he knew. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, they didn't have Torah. They didn't have Yahuwah like that. They were holding on to the church. There was a lot of iniquities, I believe Martin Luther King may have been involved with it. But you got to take some of that with a grain of salt, too, because, you know, the government is big on smear campaigns and stuff like that. And they don't always be true. Some of it be half-truths. But I think some of that was true. You know, just because, you know, that was just something that, man, look, our culture, we was just moving like that. But I just think that opened up the door to a lot of you just didn't have that same level of covering that someone would have if he was guarding the commandments, basically. You know, the same with, you know, Malcolm X was dealing with that. Malcolm X wasn't nowhere near as controversial. It's interesting too, because Israelites, man, they love Malcolm X. They ain't gonna say nothing about Malcolm X, and I know why. Because Malcolm X, he was a lot more 10 toes down. A lot more straightforward than Martin Luther King. But I'm just saying, I just wouldn't throw everything out surrounding Martin Luther King. That's all I'm saying. Yasha said he also was not making a covenant with them over a meal. That's a through point, Ema. That's a through point because of you know, that is associated with a covenant meal, especially when we talking about wine, bread and wine. So very, very through point. Ivan One Little said, breaking bread with someone signifies agreement with whatever they believe in. When my job has meetings, I do not request anything for myself. Man, that's a through point. Man, that's a through point, Ivan One Little. That's real talk. That's real talk. Havathar Elisheba said, wow, nothing new under the sun. That's through, Ivan. I do them potlucks. I think she's saying I don't do them potlucks either. He said, how can two halakha unless they agree? That's real. Yirmiyahu and Shemayahu said, man, the food was dedicated to their aluas, also their ways, all ruako. They became in the likeness of their alua. Verse DANIYEL, getting wisdom and vision from eating clean and being faithful to Yahuwah. Man, that's real. He said Daniel was in the likeness of Yahuwah, although he was in Babylon. Khan, man, that's real. He was in Babylon, but not of Babylon. You know what I'm saying? Man. Khan, life with Eliana Yahu, Khan. Ivan One Little said, that's why we were chosen where the other nations rejected him. That's why we were chosen where the other nations rejected him. I don't fully understand that one. Raphael said, with that being said, could DANIYEL, Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael been Malachim? Absolutely. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, think about it. They were supernatural. They like had more understanding than everybody else, and they had understanding and visions and dreams. That's a big one. So they were prophetic. They were and all I submit that all the Nabi'im are Malachim. All the prophets and stuff like that were Malachim, were angels. You see what I'm saying? They were messengers of the Most High. So absolutely. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And we're gonna see, you know, that DANIYEL, he was even in communication with Arch Malachim coming and visiting him. All kind of things. We'll see that as we keep going. So he definitely, I submit, was a Malach. Chepsi Bayahu said, whom Yahuwah Sabaoth shall bless, saying, blessed be Mitzrayim, my people, and assure the work of my hands, and Yasharel, my inheritance. That's it. That's it, y'all. Yahuwah's child and Yahusha's followers said, and they should have said, catch fire, because if you don't get it together, that's your portion. And they should have said, catch, because if you don't get it together, that's your portion. I didn't get that one either. All praise to the Most High, though. Yahuwah's child and Yahusha's followers said, and it's always best to hold your tongue when not knowing the fullness of the matter for sure, Musha. Hallelujah. Khan. You right on it. You right on it. That's real, y'all. All right, y'all. But yeah, it's fun, but I gotta run. Y'all have a through rest of the Lila. Have a through Shabbat. Most High willing, we do this again next week, y'all. Lakam, La Shalom. All right.
I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name forever. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name forever. Oh Yahuwah, your greatness is unsearchable. I will exalt your name. Oh Yahuwah, your greatness is unsearchable. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name forever. For 1,000 generations, I will exalt your name. Thy kingdom, thy dominion endures throughout all continuously in my bloodline for all of eternity. I will pay my vows continuously in my bloodline for all of eternity. Let my DNA always cry out to you. Let my DNA always cry out to you. Let my DNA always worship you. Let my DNA always acknowledge you. I will pay my vows continuously in my bloodline for all of eternity. I will pay my vows continuously in my bloodline for all of eternity. 4,000 generations, I will exalt your name. 4,000 generations, I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name. I will exalt